Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Düsseldorf 2019, the largest European Yu-Gi event of all time. We are now in the top 32. We have dwindled down 2,800 duelists to just 32 remaining. This is basically one for all the marbles. Although actually one of these players, he's running for Worlds points. He wants to make a lot of points to make sure that he's going to be playing in that special event on the Friday of the European Championship, where one or two wins, I'm not even entirely sure, is going to take him to World Championship. So he's already quite happy. It's not Raphael Nevin who we had in last round, it's somebody else. So all the good players that are super consistent the entire season also do really well in this largest field of them all. The player that I'm talking about in the red corner is Thomas Rose from the UK. Come over here, please. Hey, Tom.
Hello.
I saw you did some sneaky thing. You put your feature match up there, so everybody's thinking you're playing Burning Abyss. So I think you're playing something different this weekend, but I'm not want to give it away. How happy are you with your deck choice?
I feel really happy. It's a deck that I've been playing for a few events now, so I've had a good chance to get my eye in on it. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to playing some games.
You're now in the top 32. I basically claimed that you're already happy with your result because I think you're all about the points at this point. Did you rearrange your side? Are you like, oh, now I have to win this YCS instead?
Well, before the event started, one of my friends was saying, do you want to maybe look at the other YCS because it might be smaller, it might be easier to get points. And I was thinking, I went over to ask whether I would be even allowed to, and at the time they said that I could if I really wanted to. I think that was changed afterwards.
It was definitely changed later on, but I think if you're one of the first guys to ask, maybe we hadn't quite figured it out. It was a bit chaotic, but we managed it.
Yeah, but my friend says, are you going to win the event? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to win the event. Well, play the big one then.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom. Please have a seat. I mean, you're somewhat used to the feature match, of course. His opponent is Olivier Boiron from France. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
We talked yesterday, you were doing quite well. We were talking a little bit about strategy, and you said, yeah, things are going well for me. Tell us about your journey here. What was day one like? What was your record at the end of the day?
The first day I 7-2, and I make one draw second days.
All right, so you had a very good day one. Day two was also quite good. I mean, you made it into the top 64. What was your top 32 match like?
It's Salomon Great, and
okay.
I win. Yes.
And you won. Okay, see, you're putting the fear of God into Tom right there. How are you feeling about playing in the feature match now?
It's okay, it's fine.
It's okay, it's fine. All right, so please have a seat as well. We have two players from international locations, so the interesting question is always who is the crowd rooting for? So we're going to do a very quick crowd check. Who's for Tom Rose from the UK? Okay, some people from the UK here. Who is for Olivier Boiron from France? Okay. I think the total numbers for France were a little bit lower, but they were louder, so they were making up for this. Okay, please perform the die roll so we can see who's allowed to go first. Olivier is rolling a 5, and Tom is having a very special technique, and it's a 6. This is how you do it.
Yeah, I'm happy.
You're happy? You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay. Tom Rose wants to go first. Doesn't seem like Burning Abyss going second deck. With that, let's take you guys to our feature match commentary team. It's Daniel Neville from Ireland and Marcello Barberi from Italy.
Top 32?
Yes.
We're getting really close now. We have two high caliber players. Olivier, I've just heard, has joined the large French team. I believe it's called BCP,
yeah,
which currently has Paul on it as well, who is the leader of the points race.
Exactly.
And then we see Tom, who is currently third place on the World Championship point ladder. So this is a pretty big matchup in terms of UK versus France. Both of the decks are in a really interesting place against each other. I think we could have some really nice interactive gameplay going on here.
For sure.
I don't know if they know what each other are playing, and we won't mention it until they have their headphones all set up.
It is definitely possible, and I mean, a giveaway could be the number of cards that Tom Rose is playing, yeah, which is 48, which is quite similar to something we have seen this weekend, if you remember.
Think back to yesterday.
Yes. Which was Pink Skiao deck. He was playing 47, so almost the same number. And now that they're with their headphones on, we can say it's actually the same deck.
It's a similar deck.
Yeah.
As we see, Tom is playing an extra card, and they definitely tested the deck together.
Yeah.
So it's Danger Orcust, but they both kind of, everybody in that circle ended up on a slightly different deck.
Sure.
So I really like this deck.
So it's still Orcust, let's say it, Orcust Danger. So it is one of, I think the last Orcust in the top cut, because we saw they were playing against each other.
Yes, they played each
So
other.
unfortunately they play against each other in top 64. It happens.
You know, you come and you travel with friends. You play them in top
it
cut.
happens. It is also confirmation that your deck is really good when stuff like that happens. But it is definitely one of the most interesting deck of the tournament. As we saw with Ping, he's playing like the Neospace connectors.
Exactly.
He's playing Kaijus, even the Dino Wrestlers in the main
So
deck.
many small engines. It's speaking of interesting decks, though, we have the Sekka's Light version of Thunder Dragons from Olivier. And this is also another deck where both of these decks are so creature focused, and they're just like, I have all these great creatures, and we're just going to build the biggest, best board possible, which is quite interesting. Guys, we're going to hop over to the game, and then we will discuss more what's going to happen in this matchup.
So, nice handshake. And we saw that Thunder Dragon was quite popular this weekend, but we haven't seen much of it until Top Cut, and now it actually seems like they were hiding in a corner, but they're coming out. So
Tom has owned this Engage since Strikers came out, and this is the first large event he is playing it for.
Okay. And it's not in Sky Strikers.
And it's not in Sky Strikers,
Of course, classic Tom Rose.
Yeah, exactly. So what the Danger deck is looking to do here is, as we established previously on the stream on the other day, you want to get 2 monsters on board, because any 2 monsters let you enter into Nightmare Phoenix or Nightmare Cerberus. And then once we have our Nightmare, we're able to make Nightmare Mermaid, summon Orcust Nightmare from our deck, and that gives us full access to the Orcust combo, which will end on Summon Sorceress. It'll let us end on Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardice, and that means that he'll be able to set up Outer Entity Azathoth, which is really backbreaking in this matchup, because if we look at Olivier's deck, it's a Sekka's Light deck. It relies on its monster card effects.
Exactly. This is basically the main reason why people started testing the Azathoth combo, because Thunder Dragon was very scary. It was basically the most played deck at YCS Chicago, and it relies entirely on monsters. So when you are able to summon the Azathoth, it basically shut down the entire deck. And we know that Olivier is not playing any Entrops, so there is no way to interact with that. So the Dolphin is even less relevant. It's just a really good engine card. So
well, what are we going to hit here with Dolphin? I'm looking at Solar and I'm looking at Dark, and those would be the two that I'm considering. If you get rid of Dark, then Solar can't be turned into a Colossus, because otherwise, in response to the Azathoth...
Yeah, the main reason why, exactly, you can... No, the main reason why I would discard Dark, as he's saying, is that you can chain it, exactly, when Azathoth wants to summon, and then there is a way you can summon a Colossus, which could be annoying, so...
And it's relevant here because Kagari actually gains 200 attack from the Spells Engrave, so it's just big enough to rip the Dark out of the hand with Dolphin. And as we established with Dolphin at YCS London, if you pick the wrong target, you've picked the wrong target.
Oh yeah,
so you want to be careful about that.
Tom Rose, so...
Yes. He was not the one dolphining at that point.
No.
But always be careful.
Yeah, always be careful, because you can actually choose not to discard with Dolphin.
Yeah.
So, for example, there, if you could discard Jackalope, maybe you didn't want to, and you could just pick something else, take 500, and go on.
Taking the Solar here is completely reasonable. You're getting your Jackalope effect. You're basically guaranteeing your danger here.
Yeah, why not?
We're not taking Jackalope. We're not giving our opponent a monster card, especially as the Jackalopes won't be able to activate once Azathoth is resolved. So, yeah. Tom knows his opponent doesn't have interaction. He knows that he can go into his Azathoth combo.
Sure.
So what can Olivier draw to counter this? Well, as we all know, Twin Twisters, Pankratops, these both can out Azathoth.
Yeah.
Other options are Kaijus or any of the tribute opponent's monsters to summon creatures.
Sure.
So Lava Golem,
Sphere mode, and whatever.
Realistically, we're not playing those main deck in our Thunder Dragon deck, though.
And now we're seeing also the Chupacabra, summoner from Jackalope, which Thomas is playing only one copy of.
Yes.
Exactly for this reason, because it's a level 4 you can get easily, and it helps while making Azothoth. So now we're gonna see what we have seen this weekend already, the Orcust combo.
Yeah. It's such a smooth engine. I love the fact that with like 4 cards, you can just put it in anything.
Exactly.
And again, this is a reason why the Sekka's Light decks are much more fragile in this format, because Luna Light had been playing this, at least in the testing prior to Chicago. I saw a lot of Azothoth in the Luna Light decks.
For sure.
Because it gives you a powerful going first play. And in any format where you have the creature-centric decks, it's really impactful. So we see Summon Sorceress, we bring back Galatea. Summon Sorceress is going to summon World Legacy World 1.
Yes.
And then those are going to become Rusty Bardice, which will then get the rank up magic and any other Shade Brigandine cards like that that Tom may want. And he still has so much stuff on board. Like, that's the crazy thing. It's you have so many extenders and redundancies in the deck that it means it's really unlikely that you will run out of stuff to do. Like, your extra deck is more of a limitation than the cards that you have.
For sure. Now he uses the Galatea. He is actually playing 2 targets for it. He's playing both the
Babel and Return,
which we see now.
Yeah. And Babel is really cool for people that don't know. Babel makes all of the Orcust cards quick play effects.
Exactly.
Which is such an interesting effect. Like, I don't think there's any other card in the meta except for maybe Guru, which is also an outlier that lets things activate in such a way. So we see Bardice coming down. Bardice is going to send either Boots or Cloak. This is Cloak being sent. And we are going to be grabbing either the Rank Up Magic or Shade Brigandine. And it looks like Olivier is saying, yeah, you've got it. He knows what's coming.
Exactly. So he picks up his card. You have seen enough. He knows the deck. And Thomas Rose gets the first duel quite convincingly.
Yes.
As we were saying, basically it was going to end with the Azothoth, and that's more than enough against the Olivier deck. He also got 2 cards discarded from Dolphin, so he was not going anywhere. And sometimes it happens. So they're both playing combo decks. So now that we go to the side decks, it gets more interesting though, because they might have some interactions. And Olivier doesn't want to side much in general, because he's playing a combo deck. These decks are both decks that rely on their engine, and they don't really want to add anything that might make them brick. So I would say that he's not even going to side. What do you think?
I'm not siding here as Olivier. Like, if you really wanted to bring in anything, you're bringing in Red Reboot, because if you're afraid of evenly matched, but you're setting up so many negates and interactions that I don't think it's worthwhile.
I mean, it could be worth just to negate impermanence as well. That's an issue, but I wouldn't really see that happening. And on Tom instance instead, I don't think he's playing many Antrops.
No, Tom is going to bring in Kaijus in this scenario.
Basically, he's maining 2 Ash Blossom, and he's siding the 3rd copy, so we're definitely going to see that. But it also depends if... I mean, pretty much he can cut the connectors,
I might bring in Magical Midbreaker Field, because it forces a negation. If your opponent doesn't negate, I guess it's less relevant here. Against something like Striker, you're definitely bringing it in.
Yeah, and that's also a reason why some people, as we have seen, replace the Hot Dragon, Archivine Abyss, with the Crystal Wing. But that's not the case for Olivier. So.
But so, as we can see with Tom's side deck, viewers at home can't see, but Tom's side deck, he has 1 Ash Blossom in his side, and then he has Kaijus. And it's a case of his opinion of the deck he is playing is that he doesn't need to have the hand traps, because he has so many cards that he can just push through everything. And if the opponent has enough interaction and negates at that point, well, then you just say, hey, look, I'm not winning this round.
Sure.
But the dangers give so much advantage, and when you're playing a deck that can play so effectively from the graveyard, Phantom Knights like Grave, Orcust like Grave, suddenly the dangers, instead of being -1 card,
They're even more.
they're like worth 2.5 cards almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does draw one of the kaijus.
Yes.
He's at this point playing 5 in his deck.
Yeah.
So
Radiants are main decked because the Orcust combo does lock you into Dark Monsters.
yes.
I
I mean, you can start with kaiju usually, so it doesn't matter
Yes.
too much. But as you said yesterday, you want to play big kaijus because it makes the OTK with Boros World much easier.
yeah, exactly. Which again is quite funny, because
yeah.
prior to this, that definitely wasn't the case. Danger Tsuchinoko hits itself in confusion. This
Yeah.
is very upsetting.
I mean, he had 2 copies of it, so the chance wasn't...
Yeah. Is there ever an argument to just summon one of the Tsuchinokos and then activate the other?
I mean, not really, because then you have the same scenario if it doesn't happen.
That's
so,
true.
And you wasted your normal summon.
Yeah. And here comes another Tsuchinoko. If the Tsuchinoko hits itself, that would be very unfortunate. It thankfully doesn't, which means he's going to get to summon Tsuchinoko, draw a card.
And this throw is going to be super important, because he doesn't have that much right now.
Second
Second
Light?
Light is
That's the
definitely a
best
good
draw in
draw,
the
yeah.
deck. Okay, can he dodge another Second Light?
Let's see.
Yeah, Second Light is such a fantastic card. And in fact, if we look back to previous events, it's something that Tom was very much on board with up until Snow getting hit, because it just generates so much card advantage. And then it also lets you fix your hands afterwards with its graveyard effect. We will actually bring it up on screen for you guys. Yeah. Also gorgeous artwork. But yeah, Second Light gives this deck a lot to play around with. He's going to discard Thunder Dragon.
And now we picked up another danger. So we are gonna keep seeing a few dangers. If he resolves Nessie, then he's good, because he can even normal summon Eclipse Wyvern and go into Saruya. So it seems like he's slowly getting there. The Second Light was definitely a huge pickup. So
yeah, I think he's in a very good position here. I think he is realistically going to get to do what he wants to do.
It should be.
And then it's just a case of, is the Orcust Danger deck powerful enough to push through what Thunder Dragons can present?
We do see a Kaiju, but we can't be sure if it's gonna be in Tom end at the beginning of his turn.
Exactly.
Because of the interaction with Diabolos and Levianir. So
yeah.
Let's see. He gets another danger yet. So
Mothman is an iffy one, because you do have to be somewhat concerned if it hits itself, and you're then giving the graveyard deck a free card, essentially. Because it will, It's the same case with Dark World Dealings and Drag Down. That's unfortunate.
And he does
Mothman
it
hits
itself, but I don't think he can afford not using it.
I mean, it's fine because he gets to draw and then he'll discard Eclipse Wyvern.
Exactly, that's
Seems
what I'm
fine.
saying.
Banish Levineer or Diablos.
Because the problem is when you have Shoot Tsuchinoko, you can't really go into Saruya like that because you need different names.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy to get around that. So
Tom has picked his card and he says, I'm going to discard this.
yeah.
I
and
really
it's the
love
cloak.
the color coordination our players have here with their sleeves.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely prepared.
Definitely prepared. Yeah.
But yeah,
Would have been a shame if they were in the opposite seats.
We're just that good, you know?
Yeah.
It's all part of the plan.
So
yeah,
Levianir gets banished, and now...
How is he going to banish the Eclipse Wyvern? Is the only option to draw one of the lighter dark dragons?
I mean, you can go for duo, which you search with the dark, so he has that option right now.
Sure.
But this Sekka's Light draw is gonna be really good because he doesn't have too much. He has a few plays available. He can normal summon the dark and then extend from there with duo, but he really wants to pick up a good normal summon. Like Sky Blaster,
Solar or Sky Blaster is a pretty good card.
But Hawk is actually insanely good because we have Engrave, the Roar from before.
Yes.
And that's gonna be able to extend these plays very easily. So
So he's pretty close to climbing into Saryuja here. If he really wanted, he could just tribute summon a
Yeah.
Thunder Dragon, but he has better ways of getting into it.
Seems like he is doing it.
Oh, there we go. I saw the line.
So Saruya comes down, and again you can see how much an Entrap here would hurt this deck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can use Ash, but that's why we have seen a raise in popularity with Effect Veiler and Impermanence.
Exactly.
So now he gets the special summon. This kind of deck does not play Matrix, of course, so we're not gonna get that. And now these draws matter, and you can see Tom smiling because he knows that these 4 draws are gonna be important.
Yeah, there's a Levineer, a Sky Blaster. I mean, those are cards that I am definitely wanting in my hand, because Levineer will let us activate the Eclipse Wyvern Engrave as well.
For sure.
And then Sky Blaster just does silly things.
But he already used the normal summon, so
Oh, right, yes.
unfortunately he's probably gonna spin that back unless he wants to keep it for next turn.
Did you ever think that in 2019 you would be seeing people summoning Thunder Dragon as the correct play in a top cut match?
Probably not. I mean,
It's quite amusing.
yeah. I mean, Sky Blaster also, it's something that was difficult to predict. It's actually a super old card, so
Yeah, for sure.
you've seen these kind of cards coming back from time to time.
So the important thing to note here is that the Colossuses themselves are not massive issues. The non-combo versions of Thunder Dragon are generally quite good matchups for Orcust.
For sure.
This sort of version where you're going to end on a lot of interaction and negates though, the Orcust deck is going to struggle here, I think. It all depends what Olivier
Yeah,
is able to
it really
present.
depends on that. 'Cause we can see Tom drew into the rank up magic, which is not a great feeling, and he's probably gonna go and upgrade the Levianeer into an LP if he wants. He has that option, so we're gonna get and see.
So a random card is shuffled from Tom's hand into the deck. And
Levianeer, a really good card depending on the matchup. You can use it going first, going second to destroy cards, or get cards out of your opponent's hand.
yeah, and Tom's not too upset here. He still has his Kaiju, he still has Engage. So he has ways into his
It's
combo.
basically the best case scenario because it was the rank up spell. It was why he didn't want to draw. So very unfortunate for Olivier, but
He does play 2 Fog Blades, so he's not as heartbroken about drawing it as some of the
Sure.
Lunalite style decks are. But yes,
I mean,
it is definitely the best card to be hit.
okay. He doesn't feel like he wants to go for the LP.
Not sure how I feel about this. I think he could have tried and gone for a lot more.
Yeah.
A single negate for interaction doesn't seem ideal.
Indeed. I mean, we can see that Tom does have both the Engage in hand and the Cloaking Grave, which are now locked. And the Orcust Nightmare is not a good pickup, so
So he's going to Kaiju Zombie Stein.
for sure.
This makes sense. I know it's a case of can he find game? Presumably, we're definitely setting our Shade Brigandine here. His ideal scenario would be that Orcust Nightmare is hit by Jackalope.
For sure, yeah.
And I think he's fine with Engage being hit as well, so he's unlikely to set it. He does have his Phantom Knight, but
he
that
can't use it
searches,
right now.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to use the Jackalope. That's also pretty important. Let's see.
Entering the danger zone 4, hitting the middle card. We hit the Orcust
he
Nightmare.
does get
Okay.
the Nightmare. Wow.
And he's going to get a draw. If this is any normal summonable monster, he's online. As it is, he draws Call by the Grave. That's not bad. I mean, it's not the best card.
Definitely
ever
not
by
what
any
he
means.
wanted to see, but he can try and work with this. So
He's looking at Shade Brigandine. He's like, okay, now's the time to use this. It's not ideal because he does want it for making his Time Thief, but it looks like he is going to go into maybe a Cerberus here.
yeah.
Nightmare Cerberus.
So he gets one more draw. He gets rid of the Kaiju, and
Clear Radiant. I'm going to draw a card, thank you very much. I mean, his Engage is just a normal Engage again.
yeah. So let's see. Again, crucial pickup here.
now he's able to just start going into his combo.
Yes.
If he drew a danger here, oh, he drew Aqua Dolphin.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's not doing anything.
It's
super
fine. He doesn't
exciting yet, I don't think.
really care at this point because
Discard Dolphin. Farewell, fish friend. He's a mammal, but... so we're summoning the other Orcust Nightmare. I believe this list is playing 2 copies of Orcust Nightmare. Yeah. And it's not playing ably, of course. But, yeah. So now he's able to go into Galatea. He's able to go send his Harp.
But now he's going for a more aggressive play.
Yeah.
So you can go on Bottle Load, Bottle's Word, depending on the situation. So you can have... that's the strength of this engine. Then going first, you easily lock your opponent. And going second, you can push a lot of damage. So...
Yeah, it's so kind of... It has so many ways that it can go. And it's quite different to the other Orcust decks that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And I believe Orcust at Chicago was very much a go second,
Indeed.
do a lot of damage deck, whereas this has kind of said, well, you know, I could go second, but I'm also quite happy to go first. And in this format, where we're so unsure as to what we're playing against every round, I think that's a reasonable approach.
Yeah.
To your
We
deck.
got to see in Tom Rowe's extra deck that he sided in number 50 Black Sheep of Corn,
Yes.
which is a card we haven't seen in a lot of time, and it is specifically for these kind of matchups.
Yep.
So,
Especially you can boost it with Orcust Nightmare, right? And
Yeah.
so it's able to clear larger problem cards.
like Colossus as well.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
That's
quite
the
nice.
main-
So he's using Galatea. He's sent back his symbols because he only plays one
Yes.
copy of the skeleton, and he is getting
The
the
return.
Orcusted return
Yeah.
to his hand or to his field.
And Orcus Return, as we've seen, it's basically a destiny draw where you can actually get rid of cards from the field as well.
Yeah, it's not showing up on our system, unfortunately. But realistically here, I'm expecting him to... Seems to be thinking a lot, which suggests that he's not going to go straight into his Phantom Knights.
Because he's, yeah.
It's still a problem board for him.
Yeah, the thing is, the Phantom Knights are not that great without a search, so he needs to get rid of the Colossus first to prioritize that. And
So he has access to cards like Nightmare Unicorn. He's going to opt to draw 2 cards, which is quite nice.
Definitely.
That is just a pot of greed in this scenario.
yeah, because then you can get rid of the one in grave. You get something back from banished.
If he finds a Kaiju here, he can Kaiju a Colossus, and then he would be able to Called by the Grave Colossus, shutting the other one
Yeah,
off.
that would be really good, but it seems like he picked up a second Call by the Grave, and the Nessie, though, can be helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can just Nessie here with the 2 Called Bys in hand. Gets you an extra monster on board, gets you an extra dark. We're going to link Tree into Unicorn, possibly? No, we're going into Rusty Bardice.
Okay, so
Paradise
this deck
effect.
plays also multiple copies of Fogblade,
Yes.
which gives it a little more versatile going second or first.
We see Boots being sent.
Yeah.
He's getting his Fogblade.
Exactly.
So it looks like he's probably saying, I'm going to be the control deck here. And I don't think you can end the game on the subsequent turn. So we're going to
I'm
just
surprised
chill
by
for a
this.
little bit. Because he does have his Orcust engine back online for the following turn. So he is fine to
Yeah.
try and turtle up a little bit. Checking his opponent's graveyard.
I mean, the main reason, as you said, is that to commit more plays, he's going to have to use Colossus, so then he can call. But at the same time, he's taking a risk because he knows Levianiris and Olivier end.
Yes.
And that can be very good by banishing basically all the Thunder Dragons in his grave.
Yeah. So Olivier is just checking which one was set off which. Okay, and he's saying Saryusha effect special summon.
He gets a
Summoning
roar.
So what I would be expecting from Tom here is that he is going to be trying to Fog Blade his own Phantom Knight and just basically getting a threatening Roar or Wabaku for the turn. The Leveneer, though, is quite
If you do that, I think you just lose the game to Nightmare Phoenix on the spot.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't think you can afford that. And also the Leveneer is now coming down, banishing both Light and Dark monsters. It means they will be able to destroy 2 cards without targeting, I believe.
But it can't attack that turn.
So, yeah.
But that's
so he needs to negate that with Fog Blade. There is no way.
I think he called by the grave.
Yeah, because there is a second one. You're right.
Phone's thinking. He has a lot of options here. Using the Fog Blade is kind of nice in that his opponent is more likely to.
But yeah, but the Call by the Grave makes more sense.
Call by the Grave seems better.
You just keep the option of using it on your own. So
The Leveneer can't deal damage this turn anyway. It's not allowed attack because its effect has been activated. We are targeting Dark here.
Okay.
So we're denying both of the Darks from the graveyard in this way because he will prevent the effect from resolving.
But then he needs to chain.
But then he'll need to Fog Blade the card as well. Yeah,
This is getting risky though.
Yeah.
He's taking a big risk right now because sure, he's gonna deny an ad, which is definitely relevant, but now he still gets the special summon of Roar.
Maybe the logic is that the Leveneer is definitely leaving the field, which means Fog Blade will go to grave, letting him bring back Rusty Bard Ice.
Yeah. But then, let's see.
I'm not sure why he didn't commit the other Called by the Grave.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It's such a strong trap card, and you know your opponent's playing Second Slide, so they're not playing mass back row removal.
Yeah. Maybe he just didn't want to have that few cards with dangers in his hand, but it seems like Cole could have definitely kept him alive.
Yeah, making a consideration for making sure that Nessie doesn't just hit itself is quite reasonable.
So now, yeah, he says that's fine, so he's just gonna attack with everything he's got.
Yep. So each of the classes is 2,900. And that's game. Okay.
That's game. So, well played by Oliver. Now, yeah, the play from Tom was debatable, but overall, he couldn't really get rid of the opening from Oliver.
Yeah.
So, we are going to see a game 3. There were definitely a few options. He could have gone for Borrelot last turn, a Unicorn, and so on. He thought he was safe, but honestly, all Oliver did was use the Leveneer that Tom know about. So, I wonder if it was a little bit of miscalculation there, but we're definitely gonna get to see a new game, and we're excited about that. So now Tom wants to go first. He's in a great spot because he knows he can do the combo, but he has to take into consideration that there might be some outs now, and we can actually see that there are 9 possible outs in Oliver deck. In the form of Dino Wrestler, Danko, and Sphere Mode. So now it gets very complicated. So
Olivier seems to have taken out a lot of cards in his siding. He has taken out his Phantom Sky Blasters, and we do see the Winged Dragon of Brawl coming in. So it'll be interesting to see.
Basically, could be siding in 12 cards if you take into consideration even the Phantasmai. Just to get to those outs, and that seems like it should be very tough for Tom. So I'm wondering if it's ever correct to go second and try again, but he doesn't have much going second as we saw. So it's kind of a tough spot for him. I think I would actually go second if you know anything about that, because even though the Thunder Dragon deck is scary, he could have still played the last game, and now he knows that there might be some dead cards in Oliver's deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see if he thinks the same way as me. So,
and again, that's the strength of the Orcust deck, is that you can shotgun first or you can shotgun
definitely.
second. He has a Sky Blaster in hand though, which suggests that he is probably sticking with going first.
Yeah. He also has the connector, which is always really good. But we do see the Denko in Oliver, and let's see.
Yeah, the Denko can be an issue here because it is one of those cards that prevents the Azatoth combo.
Exactly. And you don't want us draw the Babel. That's kind of unfortunate for Tom.
Yeah. Again, the deck is able to have a certain amount of cards that don't do anything. What Tom is going to want to do here is he is very much going to want to clear the Denko Seku from hand.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not going to be too much of an issue because with this deck, compared to other Azatoth decks, you usually end on a Time Thief that has a trap under itself.
Yeah.
So if you see the Denko now, you can just wait for the Time Thief, and if they summon Denko, then you just spin it away, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So it seems like Tom is still in a really good spot.
For sure.
He's not using Dolphin.
Which is interesting. I guess it's under the assumption that he knows his opponent is playing very large attack point value monsters, and he might not be likely to grab any card. There's still plenty of time on the round though, so that's definitely not a consideration here. Discarding Nightmare to summon Nightmare.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But I wouldn't mind just getting the information out, and because we know he has the option of just not discarding, and there is still plenty of time, as you said. So I'm not sure if I don't like the activation, because now, I mean, if he's gonna play around Denko, then sure, but he probably tested this interaction. It seems like a pretty easy interaction to catch up, because Denko is one of the most popular side deck cards of the weekend.
For sure. And again, in a question mark format where you're not sure what your opponents are wanting to do, cards like Denko and Reboot are quite impactful.
Yeah.
Would you bring in Reboot against the Azatoth deck?
I was considering it, and it's actually like, even the last card is Oliver's side deck.
Yeah.
I think against this deck in particular, it could make sense. Like,
I think it's actually quite strong.
yeah.
Because even you can Reboot against the Shade Brigadine if they have a weak hand.
Sure.
And then you lock them off being able to end on their Time Thief in the first place. Or else you are able to prevent them from using Fog Blades and so on and so forth.
Yeah. The thing is, you have to know the deck very well to do something like that.
For sure.
So I don't expect Oliver to be doing that.
And that's part of the edge of Orcust for this weekend, right?
For sure.
People don't appreciate that one Orcust Nightmare card just revitalized an entire archetype and really made it a playable deck.
Yeah, it's completely changed the deck. And sure, it did top Chicago, but it wasn't like everyone was using it. It was more like a random top in the eye of most people. And
well, Lunalight very much took the thunder from
away.
YCS Chicago. Because there was a lot of interesting decks that topped that event.
Yeah, not as many as our event, but sure. Let's give
trying
them...
to start a fight here, are we?
No, not at all. But now we see the Time Thief Redoer coming down, and
he's going to activate it immediately.
And that's a big punish, though. So this can get really ugly for Tom, and it's probably going to get ugly because he has the Cold Body Grave, and that's why not using the Dolphin was kind of a weird decision with so much time left.
Yeah.
He's not playing around what his opponent has, and it does make sense to play around Denko if you can. So.
Particularly because he could Dolphin, and then he would be able to boost the attack of a monster.
Yeah.
Using his Nightmare cards.
So Dark is used in the end phase. Why not? It set up very well for Dragons. So the Denko is looking super good.
Do you standby phase Coldblood Grave here?
I mean, if he didn't use the rest, I'm doubting it will. So this Denko, for the first time in this event, is actually going to be devastating, it seems.
Yeah. So we are asking if Time Thief is wanting to take a card
to use
from
the
the
effects.
top
Of
the
course, it's not. And wow,
he has double Denko Seko, so it means that
Denko comes down, and you can see Tom is smiling.
Yeah.
Definitely not happy about that. Could have played around it somehow, but now he's still gonna come down to the dangers. And
we have to remember that the Orcust cards are still live because of Babel.
exactly.
So Tom still has interaction even though his back row is locked down. And drawing the second Denko here is a completely redundant card.
Sure. But you do have the dangers.
Yes.
Again, not the best feeling in the world when you have two of the same kind.
Yeah.
But with Nessie, you don't really mind getting one discarded, because then you can try again.
Yeah.
So
he's reading Harper, he's reading Nightmare.
yeah,
Orcust.
he's just making sure that, as you say, this is a different type of Orcust. Tom is going to be able to do the same thing next turn, or at least as much to get to the Boris word or
Exactly.
Borreload, which is really good. So now, Nessie
Tree.
doesn't discard
Hits
itself.
the dark. So Nessie summons. And he will draw one card.
Yes. And something important to notice is that he has even one more extra deck zone right now due to Sorceress.
Yes.
So what does he pick up?
It seems he's drawn another Nessie.
The third one. Wow, I thought it was just not updating, but it's quite possible.
Well, he can Phoenix, discard Nessie. He's going to target the Orcust Babel.
Yeah.
Now, do you chain your Harper to summon from deck here? Yeah.
Sure.
Tom says, I'm just going to get another blocker in the way. And
He
I'm
chains
also going to
both,
Nightmare.
actually. So he's going to get a boost from the Nightmare and probably the Skeleton from deck. So
Yes. Yeah, grabbing the Skeleton from deck seems reasonable. It gets you a free 2, so you can climb up into your Boral Sword.
yeah. So he decides he wants to boost the Redoer.
Yeah. It's the largest creature on his board, and it also offers the most value over time. He can bring back his Phantom Knight, even if it leaves the field, whereas Redoer is a once-off card in this deck.
So now he's going to get a draw off the Phoenix and a search off the Dark as well.
Yeah.
He can get the Duo if he wants, because he has already used the Hawk. So he picks up yet another danger. So it's looking like he can do quite a few plays.
Yeah, he has a lot of cards here. It's quite possible that we're going to see him trying to climb into a Borreloid Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't play Boral Sword because there just isn't space in this deck. But he's going to start doing stuff and try climbing through Saryuja, etc.
Exactly.
He's checking the attack value of Time Thief Redoer.
It's 4, so it's 400 more than what it usually is.
I believe it's a 2400 attack.
Yeah.
It's such a large rank 4. Yeah.
It's 28 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So he does add the Duo, definitely the correct choice here. And let's see. Yes, he's gonna summon a Duo, and then he's gonna go and try to continue with dangers. We have to be careful about time right now, because we're getting somewhat close. It should be around 3 minutes. So could be an issue as well. And now he goes for the danger. So
the
it
dice
dropped
has gone
off.
wild. It's gone off the table. 6.
not sure which danger he revealed, but Nessie has
was
already
it.
been used.
So no value will be gained from Nessie here.
And now the Jackalope tries again, discarding the
Second
Denko.
Sif.
So he gets another draw. The best draws here are the Wyver Buster and Call Up Serpent. Let's see if he can get any of that.
So he does have an issue here that he doesn't have enough materials to make a Saryuja with its full effects. He gets down a Wrestler Pankratops, but I don't think that improves the board here much. Do you think we might see a unicorn?
I mean, it could have gone... I mean,
the board is quite chock-a-block at the moment.
what do you want to get rid of with unicorn, though?
I don't know. I'm just... It is an option for him to get. He can get rid of Redoer, I guess. But spinning back Redoer is not something that
I'm not sure if I like this, though, because, like, what if he would have gone for a borrow load and then special summoned the Dino Wrestler?
Yep.
He would have had one more interruption for next turn, which would have stopped the Orcust train, and I think that would have been much better than this.
Yeah, I think...
Because now, sure, he gets to add a Thunder, right? Or let's bring up Duo real quick.
You get to stack one of the banished ones to the top of the deck.
No, because when he destroys, you add the Thunder monster from deck. That's why.
Yes, yeah.
But still, I'm not seeing the line right now, because if you would have gone for borrow load, then you push a lot of damage. You can steal any of those, and then you still have the Dino Wrestler. You basically clear the whole board, but you also keep a Dino Wrestler, which is a really good card, because he can destroy anything Tom tries to do next turn. Well, now he's forced to go into main phase 2. We're not exactly sure how much time is left, because it could be close to a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then Tom Rose is not in a nice spot. Now Roar is used to get back Awk. Was Roar not used previously this turn?
Don't believe so. His opponent is going through his extra deck. He's going to summon a Colossus, it seems.
Yeah.
So here comes Colossus. Tom says that's fine.
Sure. Okay. He passed, and now Tom wants to go full speed.
Yeah. Summon Galatea.
Now, we're not sure how much time is left, but all he needs to do is just summon a Borrowless Word or a Borrow Load, and he's gonna take the duel. So no interaction there. Sky Blaster is a huge pickup. It seems like we still have some times, because otherwise he wouldn't be spending much.
Yeah, I know he can make a Boral Sword.
Yeah, and now it's looking incredibly good for Tom.
Yeah. Link to
Space Insulator, I believe.
Space Insulator, Insulator, Tsuchinoko, Sky Blaster, make Boral.
And now...
my heart is racing here. This is very tense.
This is going...
he has
really
entered battle
close.
phase.
There are still a couple of seconds, and the handshake is there.
That is the game.
Tom takes the game. What a game match. Let's go to the post-match discussion.
The closest match we have seen all weekend.
All weekend, for sure.
Like, insanely close. The decks both had such a close matchup that game. You know, we saw Tom starting, and we saw him not activating the Dolphin, not even considering the Denko Seka. He doesn't call by.
That almost costed him the game match.
Really close. And that seems like 2 times where he questionably used his Called by the Graves. In the second game, we saw that he only set 1 of them. So it'll be interesting to see what his logic was on that. But
yeah, definitely, because as you were saying, even if he didn't use the Dolphin, he had the option to keep Time Thief as an out to the Denko, and he decided to forgo that, and it was very close to losing the game. Again, Oliver could have definitely went for a different line, because if he went for Borrow Load and summoned the Dino Wrestler, then he was in a really good spot.
The problem with holding the Time Thief is that because it detaches for effect, if you use it during the opponent's turn, it leaves the field and you can't make the Azatoth.
Of course, because it doesn't detach as cost. I know that's the case, but you can't really do much about it. And you know the Denko is there. I mean, if you would have known, maybe, but there is not much you can do. Oliver could have, but we don't know. This is what happened. Tom is advancing to the top 16. We have still a lot of matches for you guys, but let's go to Tom and talk about that.
We're on the main event stage. We're actually still shuffling up. We got Tom Rose, the winner of the match. Congratulations. I just heard these 2 guys. They said this was the closest match they've had this weekend. Come a little bit closer, please.
Yeah, that was really intense. I thought I had that last game, and then Denko came down, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Fortunately, the miss with the Nessie really limited how much he could do with his turn there. And I just knew that I told him I have no responses to anything, so don't give me any time to think because I just need to make it back to my turn to do some damage.
It's very interesting strategy, in fact, because we don't see that very often. Sometimes people are trying to bluff. You're basically playing with an open hand. You're saying, I got nothing, just play really fast.
Yeah, at that point, my worst enemy was the clock. I could see that we only had 2 minutes left. I would rather that my opponent knows that I don't wish to have any opportunities to respond and just make his moves. And hopefully, we all have to play by these silly time rules. So if you have to play like that, you have to play like that.
But it's an interesting strategy. It's one I haven't heard before, to be honest, that you just tell your opponent, it's basically your game. Like, you can play a game of solitaire until it bounces back to me, and then I'm going to show you what's happening. So, in the end, it was like masterful execution. You made sure that just in the nick of time, you got your damage in to win that match. How come you didn't play around Denko Seka? Is it a card that you didn't see coming, or did he really surprise you with it?
It wasn't a huge surprise. Like Thunder, particularly the Seka deck, will play Denko Seka, but there's nothing that I can do to play around it. The only way that I could potentially mitigate the impact would be if I used the effect of Redoer in his standby phase, so that I could tag it out or maybe hit a spell and draw a card, but the payoff for that is so low and it rules out me being able to use my rank up play, so he either has the Denko or a Kaiju for the Redoer, or if he doesn't, then I seal the game immediately.
So it's basically a case of go big or go home in a sense?
It's sort of, yeah. It's like he's got to have it, and this time he did.
All right. I've actually seen that sometimes players are playing to not lose, so they're very careful. But sometimes you have to take a risk, and that's your only chance to end up winning. Is that one of those situations where you really had to make that decision and you say, okay, this is how I have to play this?
It's a bit of that, and it's a bit of a value call. So the payoff, if my play all goes through, is so high that I will risk that he might have a way to stop it, and if he doesn't, then it's game over.
All right, well, very fair assessment. Seems like you're really deep into the strategy, obviously. I mean, you're playing a lot. That's why we can't have you on commentary these weeks. And a couple of people have already asked for you. They said, hey, we want to have Tom Rose back. So are we going to see you on commentary anytime soon, or you keep playing until you're basically winning Worlds and then maybe?
I don't know if I'll win Worlds, but I would love to make it just to play there. If I can make it to the World Championships and play, then I think I'd like to come back and do some more on the commentary desk. But for now, I really just want to make that dream come true.
Okay, thank you very much. So now you got a little bit of time, thank you again, to calm down. Basically, D-side deck, we've seen that after the feature match. Sometimes players forget that. So that's it from the main event stage for the time being. We need to check again what we're doing with time. It's also like one of the very few situations today that our casters are going to have a break. So unfortunately, I think we can't have fun and games. But we're going to be back very, very soon with another feature match. So guys, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.